In every marriage, there's always going to be struggle. And if you have been following House of Rose for any amount of time, then you might have this misconception that we have this perfect marriage or this perfect life. But that's actually not the case. We have actually been through quite a bit together. And so today we're just talking a little bit about some of the struggles that we've faced as a married couple. One of the hardest things that we have faced as a married couple was when my husband was deployed to Iraq. He actually was in Baghdad for 17 months on a tour of duty, and he's in the Army National Guard. He was a financial advisor by day and just kind of like the monthly weekend soldier, is that what they call it?
Yeah, weekend warrior.
Weekend warrior, and never really thought that that would amount to anything, never thought he would have to go to war, and he did. And so that was one of the hardest times in our life. We had just gotten married, hadn't even been married 45 days and he was leaving for Baghdad.
Yeah, I think really the hardest thing was when I was gone, I didn't have my first leave. So I left January of 2005. She came to Fort Dix, New Jersey for a weekend, which was like in February, I think. But then we didn't see each other until Thanksgiving, November.
Yeah, it was 11 straight months. I just remember, like, it was almost a year of not seeing, touching, feeling, nothing. Like,
yeah, and like just that, you know, things like the world didn't stop living while I was gone. You know, when I left, we were sharing an apartment or a house with 3 of my buddies. We had a dog that we had just bought, and I come back home on leave, and we have a brand new home. We have a brand new dog. Our other one got killed while I was gone. And, you know, some of my friends had moved away, had graduated, got jobs. And it was just like trying to remember who I was, and just kind of also remember who we were, you know, as a couple.
Yeah, so much changed in that period of time that he was gone. It was not only like a new house and I had a new job and we lived in a new town, and it was just everything was different. And whenever he returned, I think in his mind he thought he was coming back to what he left, and when he came back, everything that he left was gone. And so it was really just like starting over. When he came home, I just remember feeling like, I don't even know this guy. Like, who is this guy? Like, this is not the person that I married, you know, over 18 months ago. And it was just, I just remember feeling just so alone.
Yeah, it was tough because, you know, I was a squad leader while I was overseas, and that basically means I had 9 guys underneath me that I was always responsible for, and always had to yell at them, discipline them. Basically, I gave them orders and they obeyed. When I came home, I attempted that same strategy with my wife. It didn't work out as well as I thought it would. So just trying to remember, you know, I told her, like, when I left, I was Jeff Rose. When I was deployed, I was Staff Sergeant Rose. And trying to remember who Jeff was, it took like almost 3 months of just finding who that quirky, goofy guy used to be. And it was tough for both of us.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest things that I love about him, is that he's funny and he's, you know, he is quirky and he dances and he's silly. And when he came back, like, all of those things were almost gone. It was like there was no funny side to Jeff Rose. You know, he was very serious. And that, I think, is just from spending the last, you know, 17 months with all of these guys and living in fear and just that strict lifestyle that he had. There was no more funny. It was a bad time.
Yeah, but you know, we got through it. We were able to work out, you know, these differences. I stopped barking orders at her. That helped out a lot, and you know, we were able to make it work. And you know, obviously, we're thankful that we did.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, when you were away, like, I just started, it was like the first 3 months that he was gone, I was so upset and so depressed, and every day was just the worst day ever, and just so worried about him. And then I started, like, you know, you just have to go on. It's like anything in your life, you know, when you lose a loved one or when anything tragic happens, you have to pick up and go on. And so I almost like built this huge wall. So I just, you know, every day was just, the wall just kept getting bigger and bigger. Like, I don't need him. I can live alone. I'm fine. I can do this. And so that wall, when he came home, was like the most giant wall ever. And trying to break down that wall was something that really took a lot of time. So not only did he, you know, treat me like a soldier, but I had this wall up, and it was really bad.
Yeah. And actually, just the thing I remember the most, I feel like when the icebreaker was, I remember we were in our kitchen of our old house, and we were talking about actually the wall that you had, and it's like, you know, you just have to open up, and it was just like, just this moment where, you know, we're both upset, we're both hurt, and for some reason there was a stud finder that was sitting on the kitchen counter. Don't know why it was there. And, you know, those little things you put on the wall and you press it and it beeps. And she picked it up and she put it on my arm and made it beep. And we just looked at each other and laughed, and we just started crying. And it was just such a cool moment to do that. But, you know, the whole point is that, you know, you have to be willing to work. You know, marriage is not easy. You're going to have difficulties. You're going to have challenges. But, you know, that's what marriage is all about.
Yeah. So those are just, you know, some of the things that we struggled with as a couple. You know, no marriage is ever perfect, and we just kind of wanted to come on and just kind of share some of the things that we've struggled with. So thanks for listening.
Thanks for having us.
See ya.